CellFrame, CELL, is being highly searched right now. Today, we are going to look a little bit on the fundamentals, but really on the technical, the TA. What is the psychological buying and selling behavior, the psychological mood of the price, and what is likely to happen with the price action next based on probabilities and never certainty. So if you like today's content, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. If you don't know me by now, my name is Jiggy. I'm the award-winning author of The Extraordinary New Venture Capital Opportunity, How to Invest Like a Pro. Been featured in the best-selling book, High Probability Trading Strategies, back in 2008, where I only used to focus on currencies, but now exclusive on cryptocurrency. So let's dive straight in. CellFrame is actually one that I was looking at early last year. I was actually involved in it. I haven't got any CellFrame at the moment, but it's a service-orientated blockchain platform. Build and manage quantum-safe blockchain solutions with the CellFrame SDK. So you can have a read on this, but really we're going to focus on the technicals. So CellFrame is a low market cap, 40 million market cap, with around just under 1 million trading volume, so low trading volume. And this has been the price action since its existence, right? So it's been as high as around $7. And, when Bitcoin was correcting, it corrected. I had a couple of big spikes on the upside. But now what we're going to focus on is this area of the price. There's a particular pattern that I want to address that looks relatively healthy. And the fact that the coin is getting searched and is one of the top searched coins on CoinGecko at the moment, we just want to look at the technicals. So again, we're going to focus mainly on, we're going to ignore most of this stuff over here. This is me drawing with my mouse. And we're going to focus here. This is what we're going to focus on, this movement here. Is there a particular price pattern that we can focus on that gives us valuable information, which makes it highly probable to do certain things based on speculation? Because what we're doing here is looking at the psychological mood on how people feel towards CellFrame. And when optimism comes in, they'll buy the token, independent of utility, because it's really, really early and the utility of the token is just not there yet. And most coins, most projects, even most stocks and shares, gold, commodities, Forex, a lot of it is speculation. So this is the part of the market that I'm speaking about here. Now, what I want to talk about is we're going to use Elliott Wave and Fibonacci, right? Most markets move in 5s and 3s, 5s and 3s, 5s and 3s. Yes, 5s and 3s. And we want to identify this psychological mood of the price action and where is it in this behavior cycle and what's likely to occur next. So over here, I'm going to draw this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm using Dex tools. Sometimes I just got to change the settings. I'm going to change the color to white so we can see it over here. Bang. So we're doing a count of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, what typically happens after a 5-wave sequence to the upside, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is an ABC 3-wave correction. What we always anticipate is ABC. And it's typical price and time ratio that we want to see. And if it goes into that range, then it gives us a high probability setup. But then we're also going to look at momentum as well. And by the way, if you want to learn how to do high-level Elliott Wave, but in simple terms, so you can see the psychological mood, whether it's Bitcoin or whether it's CellFrame or whether it's another coin, take my free Elliott Wave and Fibonacci Masterclass. It's in the link below, and I cover this in depth because these patterns, I would encourage you even just to pause the video, go watch it, and come back. But these patterns, we want to identify in advance because it tells us what's likely to occur next. So now what we're going to look at is if this is a 5-wave sequence, what typically occurs is any correction in the sequence, in both time and price, these are the two corrections in the sequence, the next major correction of an ABC should be bigger in terms of time and price. And we can clearly see from this particular scenario, this is currently bigger in time and price, right? So that gives us confirmation that we're in a correction on this micro degree count. Right, important to note. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at, firstly, I'm just going to jump into a weekly chart. Now, one of the challenges with younger coins like CellFrame that's only been around since, let's have a look, CoinMarketCap again. It was in, I think it launched, was it March 2021? So it's around 12 months. One of the limitations is there's limited data available. So when I get to, I'm going to go to a weekly chart. This lets me pull this up, a weekly chart. And I want to pull up the momentum indicator. Now you'll notice that the data is limited, right? We don't have all this data from this area. That's one of the downsides of low caps or newer projects. We don't have what was the price action in this zone over here, because it didn't exist. It's quite a new coin in the grand scheme of things, right? But it had a massive spike up and a massive spike down. So the weekly momentum, though, with the data that's available, is down. Ideally, we want to trade in the direction of the trend, and ideally 1 or 2 weeks time, the momentum should be up, right? So we want to take note of that. We're against the trend at the moment. We're looking for a buying opportunity. Probabilities never certainties, but the weekly trend is down. The ideal would be that if I can just do this, oh, not this, if I can do this, does it? Yeah. The ideal would be, I'm just going to change the settings in this. One of the problems with Dex tools as well is it never changes my settings. I want to just change this here, just so you can see it clearly. Ideally, we want to wait until the momentum indicator is in this section down here. Ideally, at least in this section down here. Just crossing below these white lines. And it might take, well, what's the day today? Today is Monday. So it might take 1 or 2 weeks for that to occur. So something just to be aware of. The probability will be higher if this was pointing up, right? If it were pointing up. Yeah, just to take that into account. Important. All right, so now let's just go back into a daily chart. And we're just going to reshape this. Bam, bam. And we're going to go like this. All right, cool. Get rid of this as well now. All right, so now what we're going to look at is pattern. We're still going to focus on pattern next, but the more recent pattern. So what we're looking at is when you're doing Elliott wave counts, there's always a count 1 degree above and 1 degree below. You go, what? Well, if you're brand new to Elliott wave, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of a something, right? Of a something. And then in this case, what we're saying that of that something is potentially a wave one. Let's just make this white and let's just go to 40. Bang. All right, so we're looking at a potential wave 1. And now what we're looking at is a correction, right? A correction, what we're looking at is a potential A, B, C of a wave 2. Now there's a particular ratio that wave 2s typically get down to, and what you want to see wave 2 as from a psychological perspective is a wave 2 is a retest of the beginning of wave 1. It normally doesn't quite reach there. And then if it's successful at holding, what it does, and this is important to note because this is what we're looking for. If it holds, it almost acts like a launch pad. Right? Not for an IDO, but for a launch pad as in a support zone, almost like a trampoline. And then you'll normally, more often than not, get a wave 3. And a wave 3 tends to be like an extended wave of this. It tends to be quite explosive. Right? And that's what we're always looking for, is the explosive wave. But to get onto that explosive wave before it takes off, that's the whole trick to this. We're doing probabilities, never certainties. So now when we're looking at this, again, we're using Dex tools, is what I'm seeing here is a potential ABC correction. So we've got this A, we got this B, and it looks like we're forming this wave C. Again, I'm just going to change the color. Right, and let me just draw it like this so you can really clearly see it. Right, a potential ABC. But remember, there's always a degree of a count 1 degree above and 1 degree below. And what I mean by that, again, is when I'm looking at this wave C, the degree below is this wave C tends to break down in 5 waves. The degree above is the wave 2, right? The wave 1 and the wave 2, right? And that's what we want to be aware of. There's macro degree wave count and there's micro degree wave count. So there's waves within the waves. And as you get better at reading the markets, you can see them. You can literally see them. And then it tells you the psychological mood of the mass herd psychology of everyone that's participating and betting on the price. That's effectively what people are doing. Because when you're speculating, looking to buy low, sell high, you're speculating on the price, but millions of people are speculating on the price. Or thousands of millions, depending on how big the project is, right? So CellFrame is quite small at the moment, which means higher risk, but a potential higher reward, right? So now we've done the Elliott wave count. And if you haven't done so, take my free Elliott wave Fibonacci Masterclass, because I break down the 3 key rules that you need to know with Elliott waves. Because when a rule is broken, it invalidates the wave count, and it just says, okay, the psychology is not looking like what I thought it was. So one of those rules is wave 2, this wave 2 cannot go beyond the extreme of wave 1, right? Cannot go beyond the extreme of wave 1. And wave 1, the extreme that we're looking at is this low down here. Again, let me change the color so we can see it. Bang. This low. So one of the 3 rules is for wave 2 to be valid, this A, B, C, it can go as low as it wants. It can even retest this and touch it, but it cannot go below it. If it goes below it, it invalidates the wave count. So that's important to know. All right, so now what we're going to do, we've done the count. So the pattern we've done, we're happy with that. This is our psychological outlook of the patient. The patient over here is CellFrame. So we're going, this is how the psychology looks. Now what we're going to do is some retracements. We can do some Fibonacci, right? Fibonacci is powerful. In the masterclass, I cover this, but what we're going to know is it's a couple of ratios. Wave 2s are between 50 and 78.6% retracement. I'm going to do it quite fast. There's an alternate price projection, which is where wave A and wave C have a relationship with each other. And the most common relationship is 100%, meaning that wave A and wave C often equal each other. So now this becomes the high probability ratio, this over here. Right, so now I will literally draw something. There's a few other things we can do, which I cover in the masterclass, but this is more than enough to say there's a good probability that this will act as a launch pad for a wave 3, where it will potentially take off. So now what we want to do, so we've got pattern on 2 degrees, a wave ABC of a wave 2, right? It's 2 degrees of wave counts. We've got Fibonacci on 2 degrees, which was the retracement and alternate price projections. There's others we can do, but we're just going to keep it quite simple today. We can even, we'll leave the others there, but this is the high probability zone. We got momentum, right? So we know the weekly is down. That's not in our favor right now. So we might need to wait another week ideally, but it might take off before then, and that's just the nature of the game. But what we have got is the daily momentum looks like it's going to make a bullish reversal, right? So it looks like the blue line on the daily, if I just do this over here, hopefully you can see this clearly. The blue line over the next day or so is going to cross over the red, which makes it a high probability that we're going to get the reversal on this side. And then lastly, what we're going to finish on is, okay, if being the operative word, because it's never guaranteed, we cannot do certainties in this game, it's only probabilities, is if the wave 3 takes off, where is the typical price zone? Well, wave 3s are typically a 1.618 ratio, which is the Fibonacci golden mean. The golden ratio is of this wave. So we're going to measure this wave, project it from here, and we're going to get 2 lines up here, right? And these are the typical ratios. So I covered this in the masterclass. I actually focused a lot on the wave 3 because one of the key best trading opportunities is to find these wave 2 lows. Let's just go with this high probability zone. And the ratios that we want is actually the 1.618 and the 2.618. However, I'm going to keep the 100%. Jigeo, what are you going on about? You're just shouting numbers at me. Okay, this is the 100%, meaning I'm going to draw it like this. This low to this high, the wave 1, that's 100% of its movement. Now, if you project that forward from this low, you'll see that's where the red line is. If we add another 62% is, that's where that is, and another 100% on top of that, that's where this is. Right? That's what these numbers represent. But it's a psychological, typical buying and selling behavior of a wave 3. This is the minimum that we should anticipate. This is where, if you're doing a, just tight risk management, this is where you want to become risk-free. And this is quite a big price movement, right? This is what's today's price? If it gets down to $1.20, this is like $2.50. So it's like a 2.5, almost a 3x, right? So this is a good risk-free opportunity if it takes off, because remember, we don't know for certain. We never know for certain. This is what we expect as a minimum for a wave 3, and this is an overextension of a wave 3, which is $4.61. And then that is the analysis of CellFrame, right? So if we look at the price data available, it will take the market cap to, what would that be? It's 400 million right now, or 40 million right now. It'll be four times, 3.5 times, so 3, 6, and 12. So around 120 to 150 million. That's still low cap in the grand scheme of things. Will it reach it? Don't know, but it's been highly searched right now. It's one of the top 5 search coins today in CoinGecko, so I thought I'd take a look. But it looks like a clean ABC if this holds, and then this would look like a wave 3 potential wave 3 if I just draw it like this. So you got a really clear. This is an overextended wave 3. More conservative would be the typical 1.618 for a wave 3. And it's better to be conservative, which is $3.30. Anything else? I don't think so. It's a pretty clean pattern. So if you want to learn how to do these counts, because what typically, we'll finish on this actually. What typically happens if it unfolds is you get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of a wave 1. Clean textbook, like the textbook Elliott wave is A, B, C of a wave 2. And then what happens with a wave 3 is it normally breaks down into a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave sequence. And we can also use the relationships between this wave, this wave, this wave, this whole wave to project with high probability where is the likely high probability end zone before a wave 4 correction. Let me just do that again. I'm drawing with my mouse. Sometimes I got, this is what I was trying to draw here. A typical A, B, C wave 4 correction. So up here is where we're looking to exit. If it overextends, we're also looking to allow us to be in the position for it to overextend before corrections. And wave 4s are a typical profit-taking correction, as in a profit-taking wave. So there you have it. CellFrame, there's my thoughts. It's a highly searched coin at the moment. It's still low cap, 40 million. That's considered low cap. What do you think? CellFrame, I was actually looking at it a lot a year ago, but now we've had a whole year of development. But now the volume, is it going to correlate with, is Bitcoin going to take off and everything else? There's a few other factors that are happening in the world right now, but just independently price behavior. There are some coins really taking off right now, and they're in the medium cap to low cap region, and it doesn't take that much volume for them to take off. So if you like today's content, watch the masterclass. I'm telling you, one, it just covers everything in a lot of detail. You get an opportunity to buy my full course. It's at a massive 90% discount right now. You get an invite to my private Telegram, and we do some private workshops also. So let's finish on today's quote. It is Leonardo da Vinci. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Less is more. It's like the 80-20 rule. What's the 20% that's going to give you the 80% result? So 20% of the activity is actually what gives you 80% of the results. And that was shown to be quite common in the world with human behavior, but also outside of human behavior. So it's almost looking at, right, what can we simplify things down to? And what we covered today was momentum, Elliott wave pattern, Fibonacci price. If those 3 things coincide, and you can write, your minimum criteria, and then you can take the position with proper risk management and consistency. And it's all about becoming the casino. So you get the edge in your favor, which is the probability, and then you act consistently with that edge without any other thinking, right? So when we see an ABC correction like this, ideally I would want that weekly to be oversold. If there was another week worth of data, if it doesn't take off, and that would make it a higher probability. But we don't have that, so you have to write that into your business plan to see does it still qualify. Only you can decide, so it makes it slightly higher risk. But at the same time, pattern overrides momentum, and then you got the price, and the momentum is like the confirmer. It's like it just gives it an extra edge. So there you have it. So like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and I'll see you soon.